Okay, so today we are replacing this rear differential. So first step is going to be to remove the axle on both sides. For that, we're going to remove these 19 mil long bolts, the 17 mil for the trailing arm. Drop this down, push the whole hub assembly out so that we can pull the axle. The axles here are just in with a prior bar, you can pop them out. And so we're going to do that on both sides. Then we'll disconnect here the drive shaft, and we'll remove the 2 bolts at the top to drop the whole assembly so that we can remove those bolts and extract the diff. Go, axle nut. So this is how you would replace a rear axle. So you just have to push this down to free the hub. You can push it out of the way and you have your axle. Don't pull on the axle to not dislocate it. I'm just going to put the prior bar here. Up, put it straight and get your axle out. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing for the other side. Okay, so now to disconnect the drive shaft, I'm just going to put a prior bar to hold the drive shaft and prevent it from spinning. Usually I go in there. There I go. And here I can loosen the bolts, the nut, sorry. There's a washer, there's a nut, and the bolt has, you see, it's cut on one side so that it rests and doesn't spin. So now I'm gonna go to the next bolt. So if you just take it like this, that's gonna spin the drive shaft. Same thing, put my prior bar to hold the drive shaft in place. So here now the drive shaft is actually separated. Here it's 03 STi drive shaft, which is not compatible with the 04 USDM drive shaft, so I'm going to have to change the drive shaft as well. So I'm going to pop the cover here so that I can drop the drive shaft. So 14 mil with impacts. Remove the cover. One. I have the underbody protection in the way, so it's not as straightforward. Go. And the last one. Cover out, create a bit of dirt, and actually to drop the drive shaft I will have also to remove the exhaust here. So that's going to be directly from the mid pipe out. Okay, so here I'll just remove the 2 bolts on the mid pipe so I could get the exhaust down and the exhaust gasket. And so now I just have to remove those 2 14 mils here. One. And now the drive shaft is not going to come off. So I can put it in the center and then pull forward and drive shaft here. So some oil is gonna start leaking from the transmission. So just take a piece of paper and put piece of paper here to hold the oil. I have already my other drive shaft to go back in, so I'm just gonna put that right away to stop the leak. Here we are. And I can already put my 14mm bolt back in place to hold the drive shaft where it's supposed to be. And here's the... Now the next step is to actually get the diff out. And so for that, first we are going to disconnect both the temp sensor and the ground wire. And now I'm gonna get to those two studs at the top to free the rear of the diff and drop it down. Okay, so here I have a 17mm half-inch long. If you take an extension, you can go over the sway bar and get this wire out. So that's what I'm trying to have the whole stud come out so that the diff can drop. If the stud stays in there, you will have to push the diff forward, which is much harder. So for the second stud, I'm using a swivel so that I can go under the sway bar. So before removing the last stud, make sure you hold the diff with a jack or anything you want to hold the diff in place. Then here I can just lower my diff and I lower the jack. So the advantage of this method now is that I can easily access the side bolts here to release the diff. So they are all 14mm, and then I can get to the 4 bolts underneath here, 1, 2, 3, 4, that are also the 14mm. I need to remove those brackets basically to be able to drop the diff down. So now I'm using my 14mm. One. And now I'm gonna get to the bottom nuts, which are 17mm. Now the bottom comes, and here the diff is released. I can take my diff out. There we go. I got the new diff. I'm gonna put the diff here. So there's a rebuild diff from our friends at Wicked Performance Group in New Hampshire. Do very good work on transmission diffs, etc. So I already filled up the diff with the module gear 300 LS oil. This kind of LSD requires the LS additive in the oil. It's already filled so that I don't have to do that in the awkward position when the diff is in place. Much easier to do on the bench. I transfer my primitive skid plate and I put my sensor back on this. So first thing to do is I'm going to have to align the diff with the holes here. So I'm going to raise it up bit. Yeah. Should be close. Make sure everything is fine here. Yeah, perfect. So now I should be able to get my bracket in place. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my nut started. The second nut. Now I can tighten those two. Not too tight, just to put them in place so I can still have a little bit of leeway if I need to adjust on the sides. I'm gonna remove this one now and put my bracket on that side too. So I have to keep the diff up like this, otherwise the two bolts are sliding up. So right now they are, when I try to put the nuts in, they are retained by the tunnel, so that makes it much easier to put the nuts. Okay, just approach them, we'll tighten them later. So now I'm gonna get the diff back down so that I can do the sides. Okay, that should be enough. I'm gonna switch back to my 42 mil. Make sure you use anti-seize on those two. Number one. And number two here. Those I can tighten now. Same job on the other side. Now that those are tight, I can tighten my bolts at the bottom. Okay, now we're going to put the diff in place. I just have to raise this up. Feel the bolts are aligned. And then same thing, well, I already still have NTCs from the last install, but I can already reconnect my diff in my ground. And now I can drop the jack, the diff. So here are the bolts in place at the top. And now we are gonna reattach the drive shaft here. Okay, so drive shaft is same thing, relatively easy. Just have to align it. There you go. Making sure. I'm gonna see, so you get the bolt from the back. Up, like this. And get the washer in. And I'm gonna take my 12 mil if I find it. Okay. So here I'm not going to tighten much, just to have it in place, and I just use the tightening motion just to get to the next bolt. Will tighten the more at the end. So here same thing, anti-seize for the next one. Get it through the hole. There's only one way the bolt can go with the shape it has, the way it's cut. So make sure you push it through all the way. Washer, nut. So I'm going tight, but not too tight that I would snap the bolt. Okay, then when it's tight, you can move to the next one. Put your prior bar in the drive shaft, like so. Okay. Driveshaft is reattached. I already secured the 2 bolts in the middle. I'm just gonna have to put the cover back on here. Okay, so here is the diff cover. The part that has the rubber bushing comes toward the rear of the car. So I'm gonna just get started with the bolts. Same thing, put anti-seize on those. There's nothing worse than those seized in the weld nuts at the top and then breaking them. Next time you have to service this. So here to put the axle back in place, I'm gonna start here by aligning with the diff. Make sure you put it very straight all the way in to not damage the seal. On the other side, I'm gonna push it out of the way. Same thing, be careful with the seal. Then you can, if it doesn't align right away, you can turn a bit left and right to align the splines with the hub. Or whatever works best. Okay, now I'm aligned. I'm pushing the trailing arm down to get the up back in the bushing here. Up. The axle is all the way in. I'm gonna be able to put the axle nut back in. So I'm gonna start with that axle nut. 32 mil. Now, I did put a lot of anti-seize already inside here, inside the bushings of the lateral link. I'm going to put also a lot of anti-seize on these bolts, especially regions like New England, where we get a lot of salt in winter. Those rust and seize inside very, very quickly. So even if I don't have to change an axle or anything, I pull them twice a year to just really lubricate them. But if I have to change an axle at an event, it's gonna be a super easy job. If the bolt is seized in, you are done. So here I put the bolt to the first bushing, through the knuckle. I'm gonna take my 19 mil to help me push through. Here. There we go. I tighten my 19 mil on this side. Very good. There we go. 17 mil at the bottom. Here we are. Gonna do the same thing for the other side, for the other axle.